What's going on, everybody? My name's Ed, and in this video I am finally going to be installing my turbo kit in my 1995 Lexus Sc300. But before I jump in, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It'll help me out a lot. And without further ado, let's get started. All right, so I literally just got done wiring my fuel pump and, you know, doing all the fuel lines, and just I'm done with that. I'm ready to go ahead and install this turbo kit. And the reason I'm doing this is because I need to wire up a few sensors into my harness and into my ECU, and I'm going to show you guys how I do it. But for right now, I want to install my turbo kit. A couple videos ago, I talked about this turbo kit when I first bought it. It was an eBay turbo kit, or I shouldn't call it an eBay turbo kit. It's kind of misleading. It's a turbo kit I bought on eBay, but it's actually a very nice turbo kit. I got it for a great deal. It's a Boost Logic turbo kit, and I don't know if they make this anymore. I was told they stopped making it. I don't know if you can still get it, but basically the way I got this is a shop had this sitting on a shelf for a bunch of years and finally let it go for a really good deal. I paid $1,600 for almost a 100% complete turbo kit from Boost Logic. And it came with pretty much almost everything. And the only thing that this kit was missing was the fuel pump. It was missing the wastegate, and I believe some injectors. It was missing pretty much everything that I already had or was planning to replace anyways. But for the most part, it was a complete kit. Now, I did a little bit of things off camera, and the reason for that is because a lot of this stuff was easier to do while the engine was out, or, you know, just that sort of stuff. So what I want to do right now is show you guys like pretty much what's been done so far turbo wise, and then we'll jump into installing the rest of the turbo kit and seeing how that looks, and then maybe I can test fit my sensors and go from there. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the oil setup I have here. I've been getting a couple of questions about the oil feed and the oil drain and how it all looks. So let's talk about the oil drain first. This is the oil drain line that came with the kit. It's a -10 with some fittings. On the bottom, it did come with a different fitting to go on the oil pan, and what I did was I upgraded that fitting to the fitting that you see here because there's an O-ring on the back. I just wanted something a little different, and you know, I kept it simple there. On top of the turbo, you have the feed line. Now, when we follow this feed line, okay, it's going above the valve covers, and then when we hop over to the other side, it's going underneath the intake manifold. Now, when you follow that line underneath the intake manifold, you have the oil filter housing, and then you have this huge oil filter housing bolt. And on the top of that bolt, there's a threaded 90-degree fitting, and that's where this oil feed line is connected to. Okay, so here's the old nut, or bolt, okay? On the top of it, it looks like they probably drilled and threaded the top of it out so that you can run that 90-degree elbow there and get your oil feed from there. Now, behind the turbo, I have my wastegate right down there. And then my wastegate has the screen pipe, or the dump tube, whatever you prefer to call it. And I believe I have either an 8-pound spring, because I'm not planning to make that much power, as a lot of y'all already know. One other thing that I forgot to mention is the EGR. I did delete the EGR. I purchased these plates off of Drift Motion. So let me show you what that looks like here. You have the top plate. You have this top plate, this is one of them. And then down there, you have the other one. It's kind of hard to see from the top of it, but there's this big pipe that runs from the back of the intake manifold to here, and it's got all of these vacuum lines attached to it. So deleting that was something that I was looking forward to. But yeah, so there is one more thing that I did install that I didn't really record myself installing, and that is the intercooler. All right, so from underneath, you can see that there are these plates, or brackets I should say, that bolt to the intercooler. And then from the intercooler, you bolt it to the frame of the chassis. Same thing on the other side, right? Now, the only thing that I did is on the top, because if you look at the top, that's the middle of the intercooler, and there's nothing really to bolt it to. At least on my car, I couldn't, it wasn't lining up to anything. So I ran this plate and just kind of drilled through it and measured and, you know, bolted to the chassis here, and then I just bolted the intercooler to that. And that intercooler is not going anywhere. Solid. Same thing on the bottom. All right, so I think that pretty much covers everything that I've done up until this point. Now it's time for me to install the intercooler piping and to plumb everything. And that's gonna be a little bit tricky because I actually don't know where any of this goes. So here's the intercooler piping, and I counted all the pieces and I tried to find some information on like installation and how to install this. And basically I just got to figure it out. I think I did find something on Club Lexus where somebody posted pictures of what they did and how they ran it. So I have a good idea, but most of this is just going to be spending time figuring out where a lot of the little ones go. I have a good idea of where this one goes, right? Because this is where I have my air temperature bung, right, installed, and my blow-off valve installed. So I know where this goes. This is going to go on the intake manifold. It's going to go on the intake manifold, like something like right there, right? Okay. That's going to go there. And then I think this one goes on the bottom of the chassis. I don't know. Right now, I'm going to set this camera down and try my best to figure all of this out like a puzzle. And then when I get somewhere or make some progress, I'll jump back on and we'll see how it goes. All right, so starting with the turbo, I have it loosened a little bit so that I can clock it properly. But anyways, intercooler piping is going down there. On the bottom, it goes from here underneath the alternator in between the sway bar and the power steering lines. Then it goes above the sway bar, and then it's gonna come out in between the AC lines right over there. Now, here's where I'm kind of stuck right now. The AC lines, I have to bend them along with the power steering line. I went ahead and I moved the AC dryer up and pushed it to the side a little bit so I have some clearance to get the pipe through here. And so I'm trying to just basically carefully, you know, persuade these lines to move out of my way nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue bending these lines. When I make a little bit more progress, I'll jump back on and show you what it all looks like. And yeah, we'll jump on to the next thing. I think I am officially NAT. Let me show you guys where I'm at so far. So let's go through this together. From the intake manifold or the throttle body, it goes down in here. It goes in through this little hole, comes underneath here, under the passenger side light, then it goes into the intercooler, or this is coming out of the intercooler. And then on this side is going into the intercooler, right? Because we're going backwards. And then it goes in through the other way. Now this side in particular is what took me the longest to do. And the reason why is because I was trying my best to be as careful as I could to just take my time bending these lines, and slow and steady, but eventually I finally got everything where it needed to be. The only thing I am not happy about right now, and I'm probably gonna have to continue playing with this, I'm not happy about that that charge pipe there. I believe that's intercooler piping number 2 because it's resting on top of the sway bar. So I need to play around with this. I think the solution is bend the power steering lines up a little bit more and adjust everything. But yeah, also what I needed to do to make space here was you have to cut the AC lines bracket. So there's like these brackets on top that bolt the AC lines to the chassis, and when you cut those off, you got to kind of bend the AC lines down a little bit. That gives you enough room to run this intercooler pipe in between everything. I know this wasn't the best video as far as like you guys seeing me install all of this, because there was a lot of moments throughout the day where I literally had to think and figure this all out. I don't have instructions on where everything goes, so I was just kind of winging it, and that's probably why it took me as long as it did. I was hoping to actually get started on the wiring, and it's already like 11 o'clock at night right now. So sometimes that's how it goes. But anyways, on the next video, I'm gonna finally get it started with wiring everything up. And yeah, you guys are not gonna wanna miss that. In the meantime, if you guys have questions about the NAT setup that I'm running, anything that I've missed, I know I didn't show you guys a lot of things like the downpipe. Here's the downpipe situation. You know, plenty of room. Here's my wideband, just need to bolt that in. But yeah, let me know in the comment section if you guys have any questions. And subscribe if you haven't already. Till next time, peace.